Hello, welcome back. So, to say that it's been a while, well, your boy is uploading a video to a channel that could be considered a time capsule. It's not because I've scorched the earth of all my previous bangers, but don't worry, I do come bringing gifts, and today's gift is a look at a anime in the isekai genre. That's right, the genre that refuses to die. Today we are talking about Frieren Beyond Journey's End. And it's all because TikTok made me. Let's get into it. Amazingly cheesy and addictive TikTok edits aside, this has quickly become one of the best animes that I've seen in some time. Not only that, but one of the most important animes in a long time. When the show starts off, it gives us, as a viewer, an interesting question to ponder. What is life like after you defeat all the bad guys? And what do you do when you outlive all your party members because you're a stoic elf with thousands and thousands of years left to live? We get that answer through Frieren. She was the great mage in the party of the hero that defeated the overwhelming evil in this world, known as the Demon King. Who's the Demon King? It doesn't matter. By the start of episode 1, he's dead and really only used to explain the awesomeness of anime's newest great protagonist. This anime is interesting because we get to see Frieren, already established and already powerful, realize something about herself. After the death of her human party mate and one-time potential love interest, Himmel, the hero, she starts to feel, and not just feel, but really feel and experience life as a human. Her adventures were great, she's lived a long time, and suddenly she's struck by the realization that she might have spent too much time getting trapped in mimic treasure chests, and not enough time experiencing the party members themselves. You see, Journey is great because we're barely a full episode in, and we are already getting the kind of character development that anime reviewers have wet dreams over. We see this powerful yet quirky mage already starting to make amends with her past. And so the real story begins, not with the death of the Demon King or whoever that is, but at the death of Himmel the hero, defender of the weak, protector to all he held close, and honestly, full-on stan of Frieren, which I think all of TikTok can probably relate. The story moves fast from this point. This isn't ReZero or solo leveling. There is no need for brutal violence or insane quests. Just yet. Instead, we get Frieren interacting with the remaining party members, an alcoholic-loving priest, Heider, and a dwarven hero, Eisen. We reconnect with him some years after Himmel's death, and we find that he's fostering an important character to come, Fern, a purple-haired little girl with an affinity for magic. Heider is dying, and he wants Frieren to take Fern under her wing, something that, surprisingly, she says no to. She won't be having the foster child of one of the last remaining members of her party dying in the wild with her. Heider accepts this, but instead he offers her something Frieren can't resist, a grimoire, a magical spellbook to revive the dead, and we will spend the next couple of years trying to decipher exactly what's going on in this grimoire. And so begins yet another great chapter in the epilogue. Years are spent with Frieren and Fern getting to know each other, slowly inducting Fern with magical training until the day Heidel, the last human companion of the party of heroes, dies. At such the perfect time that after years of silently learning to be a mage, with Frieren, Fern is able to prove herself to be a capable mage herself, and in doing so fulfills the promise entrusted to her by her adopted father, the corrupt priest. Honestly though, the best part of this little section in the anime is probably the fact that as viewers, we are privy to something that the characters are unaware of. It's minor and easily missed, but Frieren, under the guise of translating the grimoire, already knew it was fake from the moment she laid her eyes on it. So we are very cleverly shown exactly who Frieren is and what her priorities are going forward. Journey is such an interesting anime because we get these really great slice of life moments interlaced with profound life events, all told through the eyes of an almost immortal main character. Frieren has lived for thousands of years and will continue to live for thousands more, but it was the 10 years she spent traveling with the hero party that dictates what she does for the forever of her life. This show is genius because it's able to propel the story ever forward while also giving traces of the magical bond between Frieren and Himmel, and even doing something as simple as using the death of Himmel as a calendar, 26 years after the death of Himmel, 28 years after the death of Himmel, and so forth, is so profound because in the eyes of the stoic little elf, every year is worth noting since the passing of her friend, whereas before her life was just brief expansions of time with no real consequences. Speaking of consequences, this anime is an isekai at the end of the day, and one of the tried and true elements of isekais is fleshing out the party, and we do that. Frieren and Fern, after many years together, eventually find themselves in need of a frontliner, someone with a little more muscle, and who better to fill that role than the student of Frieren's last remaining original companion, Aizen. Stark. Stark is loud and self-deprecating, but strong and willing to stand up for what's right. It's immediately obvious the moment we meet Stark that he's what's been missing in the group, and missing from Fern's life. The introduction of Stark has a rippling effect in the show that's felt in characters all throughout. He's not some godly, all-important character whose inclusion somehow shifts the show. No, for a good chunk of the anime, we're still spent reliving Frieren's past adventures with new challenges and flashbacks. Instead, his inclusion creates a shift in the feeling. Yes, the feeling. It sounds dumb, but honestly, it's one of the most important aspects of this show, and one of the reasons why I think it's one of the best shows to come out in such a long time. We have a slow building, true-to-life romance happening in the day-to-day adventures of this new hero party, but it's done in such a matter-of-fact way that it's almost never in the front. The closest we get to having the show stick this love story down our throats is a birthday episode in which Fern is upset with Stark for not getting her a gift right away. And in a very slice of life, isekai manner, the episode resolves itself, but it's still the feeling that gives us that quote-unquote good feeling. The consequences of love is felt throughout this entire series. Frieren is slowly unfolding her feelings for Himmel, and it's such a potent and sad look at the very human feelings of love lost, not through fighting, but a love lost through time. Frieren's new adventures with her new companions is an almost painful reliving of the hero party of yesterday. As they travel through the northern lands, we see more and more examples of this. The penultimate example of this being when she learns the meaning of the ring that Himmel bestowed upon her, just to lose it. The show is so well done that it's the nuance of Frieren's quiet panic as she tries to locate the ring that really hits the nail on the head so strongly. We become exhilarated when ultimately she does find it and wears it for the first time, now fully knowing the meaning that it held to Himmel when he gave it to her. Another sort of unspoken consequence of Frieren's love for Himmel is the fact that she completely fights differently than she used to. It is shown throughout this series that Frieren is powerful and destructive and knows all these amazing spells, but it's Himmel's influence on her that changes her and creates a more gentle, kinder version of herself. One thing we don't ever really focus on in this show is the fact that Frieren is the last great mage of her time. She is without a doubt one of the strongest characters in the verse. This aloof little elf is so powerful that she often dwarfs the other characters in pure mana output. She's a sneaky fighter, constantly suppressing her mana so as to fool demons. But although amazing sequences of this are peppered throughout the anime, it's never the focus. That is until we reach the end of the first season, and the last arc in which Frieren and Fern have to become first-class mages by getting certified and outlasting 3 tasks. It's only in this one part of the show that Frieren's power is finally shown to its potential. Although there's lots of action and many beautiful shots of animation, this is probably the weakest part of the show itself, while also simultaneously being the best part. We lose the slice of life aspects but gain these incredible feats of magic and dueling, and we even get to meet the teacher of Frieren's master, the elf Seirei. So many great parts of this story are touched upon and revealed in this tiny portion of the anime, but we lose Stark to being a background character. We get Seirei, but we don't really get to spend a whole lot of meaningful time with her. We get amazing fight sequences, but we lose the slice of life aspect. The way that this series is handled is an incredible example of what being a silent powerhouse in anime actually means. Although it feels like we spend most of the time getting lost and doing nothing, it's exhilarating. We are so invested in the characters and the world that's being built around them. All this to say that Journey is beyond any of the expectations that I had coming into it. TikTok did me a great service by introducing this anime to my life. I can't wait until we see what happens next. I hope we're able to keep the familiar aspects of the early part of the show and incorporate more of the action we found towards the end of the series. If they are able to mix both of these two fundamentally different parts, they will have something truly special in their hands. So I think that's my overview of this series. Obviously, I am in love with everything it has to offer, and I think it's something great. So if you take anything from this video, I hope it's give this show a chance. It's worth all the hype that it's got, and cheesy TikTok edits aside, I am so glad that TikTok made me watch this anime, and I can't wait to see what else TikTok has in store for me. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked this video, please feel free to subscribe and like. I am trying to grow this channel, so hopefully I'll see you again. Alright guys, bye.